This video was made for the use of information and education campaign for schools. Under the project Mitigating Threats to Marine Protected Areas through Reducing and Recycling Waste Materials. The main goal of this project is plastic reduction in marine environment, or PRIME, with support from USAID through Municipal Waste Recycling Program. Now, what is plastic pollution? Plastic pollution is the accumulation of plastic objects and particles, for example, plastic bottles, bags, and microbeads, in the Earth's environment that adversely affects wildlife habitat, and humans. Plastic that acts as pollutants are categorized into three: macroplastics, microplastics, and the smallest one are nanoplastics. Since plastic materials last for a very long time before it disappears, these materials turn into small pieces, which is then called microplastics, which then acts as a sponge that absorbs harmful chemicals. The following video shows an example of accumulated plastic waste into the sea. This video was taken at Manta Point, Nusa Penida, Bali, Indonesia. This is a famous diving site in Indonesia. As you may have noticed, you will see that all the sea creatures here are living among with plastic waste. Plastic pollution can take different forms, including the accumulation of waste from households, the accumulation of marine litter, fragments or microparticles of plastics, and non-biodegradable fishing nets, which continue to trap wildlife and waste. Waste causing the death of animals by ingestion of plastic objects. And the arrival of microplastics and microbeads of plastic from cosmetic and body care products. Did you know that the Philippines is the top 3 contributor of plastic in the ocean? First is China and second is Indonesia. Here's the top 10 items picked up at beach cleanup worldwide. Number 1 is from cigarette butts. Second is plastic bottles. Third one are plastic cups. Fourth are food wrappers. The fifth one are grocery bags. Sixth are plastic lids. Seventh is plastic straws and stirrers. Ninth are plastic bags. And the 10th are takeout styrofoams. It was estimated that 8 million metric tons of waste enter into our ocean every year. 80% of marine litters comes from land. This pollution comes mainly from household waste, which is poorly recycled, dumped in landfills, or abandoned in nature. This waste is carried by the winds, pushed by the rains into sewers, streams, rivers, and finally in the oceans. "20% are from ships dumping their waste in the ocean and discarded fishing gears left by the fishermen. Here is another video of accumulated plastic waste in the ocean.
Photos don't exactly do it justice. It was one of the most devastating and disgusting things that you could imagine to see in the water. We must have gone through an area about 5 miles wide that had just garbage strewn everywhere. On the surface you could see plastic floating, and just underneath the surface there were plastic bag after plastic bag. I mean, it was just unbelievable. It was just everywhere. And then we reached an area, where we thought we'd seen the worst. And then after that, it was just there was even more trash. An area about 2 miles wide had these trash lines that were maybe up to 30 meters wide that just stretched from horizon to horizon. I mean, it almost looked like floating islands. Countries like the UK use somewhere around 13 billion plastic water bottles a year. Of those, only 3 billion are recycled. The rest of them end up in landfill, and a lot of people believe, I put my trash in the trash can, it goes in the bin, it goes away. But that's unfortunately not true. A lot of that ends up washing out into the oceans. I mean, the amount of trash that is in the ocean is just overwhelming, and 90% of that is made up of plastic.
This is an example of plastic runoff after Typhoon Vinta of 2017, in which all plastic debris improperly thrown was carried into the Manila Bay. Here are also some photos within Puerto Princesa which shows how plastic entered the sea. Wildlife are the first affected by plastic pollution. The most direct effect of plastic pollution is the imprisonment of animals in nets or large debris. It is a cause of significant mortality in marine animals, turtles, and birds. Discarded or lost fishing nets, also known as ghost nets, kills marine animals not once but will last for a very long time in the sea, especially if not removed immediately. Here are some videos of trapped turtles in discarded fishing nets.
Ok. Uy, qué feo, sí. Army, tenemos un cuchillo mejor todavía. Qué cuchote. Ok, número 1. ¿Ocupas?
Island.
Sí.
Okay, well,
Somebody to, Uy, sí. Ok.
oh shit. No me con el cuchillo.
No, pero ¿lo quieres con el grande?
Ah,
Pero con cuidado, ¿verdad? Porque si ella se corta,
¿qué fue? No, porque no se hace fuera.
pero que cuidado que no me cortas a mí. Ok. Uf, pero sí. Ay, la pobre. Bueno, pero parece superficial todavía. No sé. Okay, I need more. Probably. I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry. Okay, ocupo que. Ay, sí, shit. ¿Me puedes sostenerla? Can you hold down the head? Que se ponen allá con el mecate. Uy, cuidado con la cabecita.
This one is another documentation of entangled sea turtles found dead in Mexico. A second direct effect on wildlife is ingestion that concerns the entire food chain of the marine ecosystem. Plastics contain compounds that can be chemically transferred to organisms during ingestion. These molecules are potentially toxic and accumulate in the body. Here is an example of harmful ingestion of plastics by a dolphin found dead into the sea. After the researchers opened its belly, they found that it swallowed too much plastic and died from malnourishment since there are no nutrients in plastic. This is a video that went viral of a sea turtle with a straw up its nostril.
I'm coming. If you're afraid, Mr. Surgeon. She's going to be so happy. Big boy.
Bless you.
Have you ever heard turtles sneeze?
You know what this is?
What is it?
Green. I don't want to put too much.
Yeah, could you, one of the swabs, the sterile swabs, could you like put them into the iodine and then we're just gonna try to clean it?
Yes, es durísimo.
ahorita lo mordí, yo lo mordí ahorita y es plástico. Sí.
He bit it. No, ese es un poco ahora. Oh man. Show me please. I want to. Oh my god, this was freaking.
An estimated 7.6 billion pounds of plastic enter our oceans every year. Seals, dolphins, and other marine life can be killed by ingesting or becoming entangled in plastic. Here is another video of how seabirds are affected by plastic.
We're here on Lord Howe Island studying the potential impacts of these microplastics on a range of the wildlife species here and around the island. So far we've been focusing on the flesh-footed shearwaters, which is one of the predominant seabird species here on the island. And they're known to eat large quantities of plastic, which we see very large quantities here on the beach. So we were working in the colony last night and came across this small bird. This is a chick. It's the time of year when these chicks should be getting ready to leave the nest and head to sea for the first time. We noticed right away that this one was quite underweight. He's very thin, and we decided to bring him back and take a look at him because we could feel at the bottom of his abdomen here some plastic potentially through the body. So we'll open him up and take a look and see what we can find inside. So we can see right away that there is a very significant quantity of plastic inside of this poor bird. He should have weighed somewhere around 1,000 grams, and he only weighs right now about 500, so he's about half of his body mass. There's no doubt that this bird died as a result of this plastic ingestion. Basically, the species forages by picking up a lot of scraps off the surface of the ocean, particularly, dead bits of squid, and they can't distinguish the plastic pieces. Very, very significant quantity of plastic inside this bird. It's quite remarkable. This kind of speaks for itself. This is shocking. There's still quite a few small pieces floating around in here, which we'll take out, but I'm going to guess the final tally is probably well over 100 pieces of plastic in this one bird. 7, 98, 99, 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 110, 111, 112. So just the big pieces here from this one individual, 112 pieces above about 5 millimeters. These are the macro pieces. It's a fairly significant number.
Now, how does plastic pollution affects us humans? Plastic absorbs DDT present in the oceans. DDT is a kind of chemical that was banned for its high toxicity, but still roaming in our ocean. Now, PCB is another chemical used to form plastic. Now, these chemicals are then eaten by smaller fish. Then, the smaller fish are eaten by larger ones and eventually goes into the food chain until it is passed into humans. Now, how long until all this plastic is gone? Plastic bottles last for 450 years. Fishing lines last for 600 years. Styrofoam cups last for 50 years. Plastic beverage holder for 400 years. And disposable diapers lasts for 450 years. Plastic bags also affect the growth of crops by hindering the process of photosynthesis in the agricultural fields. By the year 2030, 90% of the world's coral reef will be dead and a quarter of the remaining fish in the ocean will no longer be able to reproduce. 15 years after that, unless dramatic action is taken, acidity level will have increased so massively they will trigger a cascade collapse of ocean ecosystem with most fish, birds, and sea animals wiped out. This will spark the failure of terrestrial ecosystem and very possibly the end of life on Earth as we know it. We have the next 10 years to get systems into place and stop polluting our environment. Failure to achieve this task is not an option. It's not just about saving the whales and dolphins. We cannot survive if we keep poisoning them. This is from Dr. Howard Dryden, Chief Scientific Officer of the Global Oceanic Environmental Survey. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. As a student, in what small way can you help fight plastic pollution?